Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to my complete Astra guide. I'll be going over her full kit, tips, and playstyles to help you climb the ranks. Before we dive in, a bit of background information on myself. I've been competing in Valorant's Tier 2/Tier 3 scene for over 3 years, and last act I was able to reach top 30 in North America with about 50% of my matches being on Astra. With that being said, let's get into it. Starting things off, how do you play Astra, what does she do, and how do you get the most value out of her kit? Astra's kit is very unique where you only have to purchase one ability, but this ability can have 4 different uses. The first use is her gravity well, more commonly referred to as her suck. Astra's suck pulls players toward the center of the star before exploding. The pull duration lasts for 2.75 seconds, and players inside of the pool, once the duration is up, will be vulnerable, taking double damage for 5 seconds. Note that you do not need to be in the suck for the entire duration to become vulnerable. Vulnerability is only applied if you are in the suck at the end of the pool. This debuff can also be applied to yourself and your teammates, so make sure you are being careful when you're using it. Astra's next ability is her Nova Pulse, or her stun. The Nova Pulse charges briefly and then strikes, concussing all players in its area. The concuss takes 1.25 seconds to activate, and will stun anyone inside its radius for 4 seconds. Astra's third ability is her Nebula, or her Smoke. Astra's Smoke lasts for 14.25 seconds and has a radius of 4.75 meters. When you compare this to other smoke agents like Brimstone and Omen, Astra's smokes are much larger, however they do not last as long. Brimstone has an extra 5 seconds on his smoke duration, lasting 19.25 seconds, and Omen has a 0.75 difference in duration, lasting 15 seconds. While it's not a big difference, it is important to note. Her smokes are also hollow, similar to Omen's, where when you walk into the smoke, you can see everything that is inside the smoke, whereas Brimstone's, it is very difficult to see. Astra also has a secondary use for her smoke called Dissipate, or commonly referred to as her Recall. When Astra recalls a star, it creates a short-lasting smoke for 1 second. The star that is recalled can be redeployed after a 25-second cooldown. Keep in mind that stars recalled during the buy phase will not have a cooldown, and you'll be free to either replace them or save them for later. Finally, let's talk about Astra's ult, Cosmic Divide. This ult is achieved after obtaining 7 ultimate charges, and when used, creates a wall lasting 23.5 seconds. Once formed, the wall blocks vision, prevents bullets from passing through, and heavily dampens audio from anything that gives
My
off a
ult's
sound
ready.
cue on the other side. Some important things to note about Astra's wall is that abilities are still able to pass through the wall, and the wall extends through the entire length of the map, so you need to be aware of all the angles your wall will be cutting off. The next topic I want to talk about are Astra's cooldowns and charges. Effectively managing your cooldowns and abilities is a very important aspect of Astra's kit because of how unforgiving they can be. Astra's Suck and Stun both have 45-second cooldowns, and her Smokes have 25-second cooldowns. If you buy all 4 stars, you can use 1 Stun, 1 Suck, and 2 Smokes per round. However, if you manage your cooldowns correctly, you can mix and match various abilities depending on the situation. While I can't account for every situation you are going to encounter, a general rule I like using when I'm playing Astra is when I'm on attack, I'll make sure I have at least 1 or 2 smokes when we're hitting a site. If my team has lots of trouble taking the site, I'll use 1 star to suck or stun somebody, and then I'll have 1 star left over in the post plant. I'd like to reiterate that this can change based on several different things, but I keep this in the back of my mind as a general basis to make sure I'm not using too much util, leaving me with nothing, but also to make sure I'm not saving all of my stars. Astra's most challenging part of her kit is making sure you're getting value out of the stars you use because of her large cooldowns and low charges. The more you play her, the better of a grasp you'll be able to get when it comes to using her abilities and when you should save your stars. Alright, now moving on, we're going to talk about navigating Astra's Astral Form. Astral Form is Astra's way of throwing her stars. When using your ultimate hotkey, you will access Astra's Astral Form, allowing you to enter a higher plane that is a mirror counterpart of the entire map she is currently on. While in this plane, you can freely navigate the map and throw down stars where you desire. Note that while in this plane, your body is still vulnerable and will remain where you were when you entered Astral Form. As mentioned earlier, this form is where you will be able to place your stars for use. While in this form, you are free to activate the stars you placed, or you can exit Astral Form and use your placed stars from your main body. Being able to navigate this form is extremely important because it is very easy to accidentally misplace stars. Astral Form is affected by terrain and elevation, so you need to make sure you're positioning yourself correctly so that the star goes where you want it to go. As said before, Astra's cooldowns are extremely unforgiving, so make sure you aren't missing your stars. The last important part of Astral Form is using Astra's ultimate Cosmic Divide. Astra's ultimate is different from other agents because pressing your ultimate key will not use your ultimate, but it'll bring you into Astral Form. Once in Astral Form, if you right click, it'll equip Cosmic Divide. Once you have Cosmic Divide equipped, you can select 2 points using left click anywhere on the map to form a wall. This can be tricky to use at first, but if you play around with the mechanics, you should be able to get the hang of it. Now that we're done going over Astra's kit, let's talk about some important tips and tricks I use when I'm playing Astra. The first and most important tip to know is that all of Astra's stars have a half-second delay before you can activate them. It's also important to note that enemies will be able to see your pre-placed stars pre-round and mid-round, so try not to be too telegraphed when you're placing them. The second tip is utilizing the power of the recall star. This ability in her kit has the most outplay potential and is a great way to catch your opponents off guard. One use of the take back star is for repositioning. If you place your star at a common choke enemies will be holding, you can recall your star and while it's recalling, reposition yourself to an angle your opponents won't be expecting you from. Another use of the recall star is using it as a fake smoke. When you place a star at a place that is commonly smoked, when you first recall the star, enemies will think it's a real smoke and not be ready for the smoke to drop. Once it drops, they are caught off guard and you will be awarded with an easy elimination.
What the fuck is this?
Last player standing.
Bro, he recalls this? Yeah, of course, Sonics, yeah.
The third tip is utilizing the power of the suck. Astra's suck can have some interesting interactions and when used correctly it can guarantee you round wins. One thing to note is that Astra's sucks are affected by elevation and anyone directly under the suck will not be affected by its displacement. The most crucial use for Astra's suck is in the post plant. When enemies are attempting to defuse the spike, Astra's gravity well can pull them off the spike. Just position your star so the spike is on the outside perimeter and it'll pull them off the spike, preventing them from defusing. Another good use for Astra's suck is to stop pushes. Simply place 2 stars in areas of high traffic, use the further star as a smoke, and based on noise you can use Astra's gravity well to stop opponents from pushing through the choke. This can not only be a good way to gain control, but it is also a great way to delay enemies from hitting sight. Overall, I really do enjoy playing Astra. Her kit is super diverse and the skill gap between a good and a bad Astra is massive. The more you play her, the more rewarding it feels to perform well. I hope you guys enjoyed this guide. Be sure to leave any feedback or suggestions in the comments as this is my first attempt at making a guide. If you guys would be interested in seeing more videos like this in the future, be sure to leave a like. Thanks for watching. Peace.